I still fight doubt. And the only person that's gonna stop me is me. But once I overcame that fight, can't nothing stop me. I can't die. I'm immortal.
Rejected, neglected, I feel disrespected. They told me go left, I didn't learn the right lessons. Been hard on my grizzle, my hustle got deadly. Y'all rap about shit I done murdered already. Ain't changing my image, focused on my vision. Hard-headed, don't listen, fake love, I ain't with it. This path I'm committed, slip up but ain't tripping. My mind always spinning, ain't talking about vision. Just run me, my digits go broke, I ain't limping. It ain't come to me, so I had to go get it. I came from a city with niggas, it's vicious. The love be fictitious, see hate from a distance. It made me a fighter, got pushed to my limits. I took a few L's and then got so discouraged. With God as my witness, from whence I was forged. No Golden Gate Bridge, but I came back a warrior. I came back immortal, invincible even. My faith is much higher than what you believe in. They wanted me gone on my soul, I ain't leaving. Spoke life into every verse you receiving. My music lives on when my bones turn to dust. There's power in words, so bitch you should hush. My mind overflowing in lyrical floods. Fuck building an art, you gon' need you a sub. I rose through the pavement, I stand on my morals. Been stabbed in the heart, now my scars are enormous. I took all your stones and created a fortress. Been fighting off demons that constantly torment my mind, and my thoughts are a little abnormal. Been crossing out squares that won't fit in my circle. Can't kill what I said, and this verse is eternal. With God on my side, I can't die, I'm immortal. Creation, destruction, the cosmos erupting. My mind kicked off track of the train I'm conducting. Came out of the dungeon, stepped into corruption. Don't know who to trust, how the fuck I'ma function. This deity trapped in this skin that I live in. They wanted a king since I fit the description. They tried to dethrone me, but I'm in position. I'll show you the wrath of a god from Olympus. You spoke on my name, bro, I thought we was different. Couldn't tie your own shoes, guess that's why you still tripping. That bitch wasn't loyal, guess karma's your mistress. It's hoes over bros, guess you made your decision. That rat in my family ain't talking about splinter. I hope that you feel every verse I deliver, cause hell done froze over, you think it was winter. If you thought for a second I wasn't gon' come get you, I think the Almighty made me in his image, dominion and power protected. My children call angels beside me, now I'm in command. Enlightenment all in the palm of my hand. This ain't what you pictured, I wasn't supposed to make it. I'm supposed to be 6 feet up under a pavement. They hate how you live, but show love when you die. Hope you feel the same way when I come back to life. I rose through the pavement, I stand on my morals. Been stabbed in the heart, now my scars are enormous. I took all your stones and created a fortress. Been fighting off demons that constantly torment my mind, and my thoughts are a little abnormal. Been crossing out squares that won't fit in my circle. Can't kill what I said, and this verse is eternal. With God on my side, I can't die, I'm immortal.
I'm invincible.
The officials are ready.
I still fight doubt.
The fighters are in the ring, and they are ready. So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first and world championship titles in a record 8 different weight division, guarantees his place in the Hall of Fame. He's recognized and known the world over as the people's champion.
My name is D-Nice. My name is D-Nice. My name is D-Nice. Taking out your suckers and yeah, and you don't stop.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good, Facebook? What's good with other streaming platforms we may or may not be on, but we might be getting watched from any damn way. What's good, everybody? I got my brothers in the building with me, but today, let me tell you what today really is. Today is August 21st, 2023, a day you never been in before and a day you'll never be in again. So being while we're at the top of this day, give everything you got, keep pushing while you can revel in it, because tomorrow ain't promised. Hell, the next hour ain't promised. So you might as well make this hour your best hour, because you just may not know if this is or isn't the last hour. Well, now with that being said, I want to bring up my brothers, man. Just gonna have a discussion if this is or isn't the last hour. Well, now with that being said, I want to bring up my brothers, man. You got YouTube playing in the background?
I have you playing in the background. Just keep talking.
No, because it's kicking back.
Got it.
You gotta mute it or all right, there we go. Yeah, appreciate the extra love, extra YouTube love, baby. Get some views in. No, man. We're talking black ownership, man, and controversial topics. And lo and behold, rather people like to address it or not, black ownership is very much a controversial topic. Hold on.
Chicken was good, but salty.
Let's see something. Oh man.
Oh, okay. I find it too salty.
Let me see something. There we go.
How about
Yeah,
now?
he's gonna do a reset.
Okay.
All right. So it is very much a controversial topic. It's just the fact that
It's not Domino's.
it's not being presented as such,
Too soft?
or
That's not all.
you know, being kicked off that way for, I guess, say certain sakes of discussions. It's minimalized by such. Let me name the quote unquote top controversial topics. All right. We have abortion. That is very much a controversial topic. Education
So,
is a controversial topic. Gun control, censorship, affirmative action, which needs to be definitely discussed because a lot of people don't know who are the true beneficiaries of affirmative action. All right. We got a comment real quick. Man, Gary J, man, good afternoon, brother. Appreciate you stopping in and showing love, man. Always good for your brother to come see us and sit, bro. So, drugs
do you want to go into
is
otherwise?
on the list. Police brutality, assisted suicide. I did not know that assisted suicide was still up of the top of controversial discussions, particularly since the passing of Dr. One Kevorkian. All right. Capital punishment, freedom of speech, climate change, atheism, extremism, fracking, marijuana legalization, cloning, artificial intelligence, Black Lives Matter, civil and political rights, nuclear energy, hacking, Israel-Palestine conflict, alternative medicine, and euthanasia are your top controversial topics. Yet, throughout the whole entirety of controversial topics, Black ownership is not on there. Now, do Black people own stuff? Of course. I got a couple of pencils, I got my Bluetooth box, I got my name. You got your glass, ID's got his hoodie. We own things, right? Yeah. Well, what are we complaining for? What's the problem? What's the real issue? What you complaining for? Let's be honest. Good brother like Gary J. Gary J, man. Good brother like that, man. Why can't he go in and say, hey, I want to put in on this prospective team and the bid be seen as quality? I bring it up to this point where three brothers, three dynamic, powerful brothers in the entertainment industry that also have the skills to be in front of the camera, but also have the very persuasive and powerful skills behind the camera. Where the money really gets to flowing. You know what I mean? Because when you're just an act, you're just an act. But when you're a producer, when you're a writer, when you're in a orchestrating business, oh, you're everything and more. Shout out to Stan Lee. Why would I shout out to Stan Lee? Because Stan Lee was all of that. He orchestrated and he would give himself minimum roles in his films, and he was consistently just showing up with that one little cameo and got right back behind the camera like nothing ever happened. But when we come to our people having those possession skills, Tyler Perry is not doing a whole lot of Medea stuff these days. There's no absolute need for Medea to show up every cookout because Tyler is showing people how to get to the money. Curtis Jackson, Southside Jamaica, Queens. What's happening, y'all? How y'all feeling out there? How y'all
Fantastic.
feeling? Y'all
It's
feeling
been
good
fantastic.
out there?
We here.
Yeah, we're here.
I just want to say this, man. Damn what people think about the man. The man's business prowess is out of this world. His way to communicate those things is out of this world. The presence of setting the establishment, my entertainment value and my personal value, they seem like they coincide, but they never mix.
Mm-hmm.
They never mix. My personal feelings will not interject on my business prowess because, hey, if I can make money with you and not like you, that gives me more the reason to work with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Shout out to that man and his creativity from leaving the music studio, recreating himself as a show producer, a writer of a different aspect, and just all out creator.
Mm-hmm.
Rap was fine. And even if you look at his rap career, he was more than just an act. He got behind the scenes. He learned how to make those relationships.
And those are the things that I think, we finding our way to highlight more and more these days. And I think that back then, just speaking on Fifth, he had somebody who gave him a fair shot in introduction, who had a lot of creative mind, that genius behind the scenes, and a man by the name of Steve Stout. He's another Queens guy, And the interesting thing about Steve is that he was like us, just regular, like, that's corny, that doesn't make sense, why getting all the bread, we could do the same thing kind of attitude and just outwork everybody else around you, because they don't really know how to put things in order
Right.
anyway. So when he was working in the scope and like pretty much bringing them these brand deals, to a Jimmy Iovine and those people at those places. Now, of course, I was a lot younger, but these are the people that I studied automatically, who were getting the shout outs and the recognition, because I saw there was a through line when we shouting out these brands, but we also shouting out the people who's connecting us to them, and when I saw that, and I saw that he was effectively taking, the brand that was being built under Interscope and saying, I can work with this guy because him with this brand, it can create a flywheel. And I think when exposed to that, creating a flywheel from his brand, and that's just terminology to say he created different revenue streams, from an idea that, it became that he was more than just, this artist, you know what I'm saying, that had hit record, had a good run.
Right. And that's the thing that gets me too, is like, even with Shaq was also one of those polarizing figures that learned to remove himself from just being an act. Because you gotta remember, while playing basketball and bringing down rims, he was also messing with the Fushniskins doing some stuff, and doing the TWISM, which is stood with the acronym with the World Is Mine Records.
Right.
And it was like, okay, I see you, Newark, New Jersey, by way of San Antonio, Texas, getting your high school state championship. I see you moving around and getting all these relationships built up, and it's nothing you could do would say about Shaq, 50, or Tyler that they haven't made the right connections to get anything done. Now,
Well,
go ahead.
go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Now, the thing that stands out to me is, again, three prominent men in society
Thank you.
that are more than just an act came to the table with more than just an act vernacular, more than just an act attitude, more than just an act relationships, and guess what else? More than just an act money.
Well, this is now we're talking about the mechanism,
and that's the debatable part, and that's the part that where I'm not familiar specifically, but if we speaking to, like I said, interestingly enough, you mentioned Magic Johnson earlier on, right? Magic Johnson, you see he has the ownership in almost every single sports, type of league, from soccer to the basketball, the women's, now the football, the Washington, team now. But the thing is, what I think wasn't recognized was his affiliation with ownership groups and his affiliation with wealth management, right? A lot of times guys like to play with, different type of, like you said, mechanisms, right? That, even it, when you're trying to do things with the government or just big, institutions, right? The type of years that they want you to have as far as track record doing business with those other businesses as a business, right? I know that could be something that could be held up. Now I'm going completely objective before we get into the subjectivity. You know what I mean? This is all the fodder, that I'm gonna put out, first and foremost, so we could dissect from there, because I know it's a bunch of BS, right?
Right.
But for the sake of that, Magic played his lane. I remember him being with the wealth management groups for however many years,
30
relationships versus 50 coming up through his relationships, and how those are a little bit siloed, or how these different entities, Shaq, Tyler Perry, 50, are siloed from each other, even though they're all in the entertainment industry, as opposed to when there's a unified front, of just the face of a Magic Johnson, but that ain't nothing but, the Walton's money, at the end of the day. So, I think that, like I said, fodder wise, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, let's put the politics out there. You know what I'm saying? They like to play with people who they like to play for a while, that they know, you know what I'm saying, it's good for a while. Like, I know you good for it, right? But you good for 200. You know what I'm saying? We need you good for 2 Bs. You know? And can you prove that you good for 2 Bs? One of you are. You know what I'm saying? But now, what about the other 2? You know what I mean? That kind of thing gets into play. Not to say that they couldn't pull that together. You know what I'm saying? But how long, this policy has to be enforced for at least, you know what I mean, how long of that money sitting there?
Have it been another situation? If they were going to acquire, let's say, an ABC, a Fox, a CBS, a CNN, I then would say, okay, that was a sound business decision. There was no other objective, nothing like that.
Right.
But they were going to acquire something that they knew clearly, wait a minute, that's far too relatable. That's a community that we could not tap in even when we thought we were tapped in. Those 3 are going to be tapped in, because what comes with a Shaquille O'Neal, NBA dominant man, spokesperson, and
Every
entrepreneur.
The answer
This
to that question,
advertising.
that chain, right?
yeah.
Now you have Tyler Perry
Mm-hmm.
that could wield the sword of multiple sexual orientations and entertainment
Mm-hmm.
and reel that in.
And
Then you
religion.
go in the power of Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent,
Mm-hmm.
one of the most global icon hits of all time, making Go Shorty, It's Your Birthday.
Right.
Now, talk about all the relationships that they built individually.
Well,
Over
this is
10 years and
well,
better.
this, my friend, is the mechanism, and the mechanism is not just the matter of being able to move the dollar. It's also about who you can bring. It's about your ability to network. It's about your ability to stand up in front of a camera. It's about your ability to structure.
Mm-hmm.
The mechanism is not 2 and 3 parts. It's 60 parts moving at once, and
Right.
60 parts moving at once is something that Magic Johnson was able to do even before he ever got a chance to even tell the world that he had AIDS. Okay, Michael
Mm-hmm.
Jordan was able to do that before he ever really, before that endorsement really started making money, before Nike started really making money, he was able to do that. Okay, that's a mechanism. A mechanism follows you, right? And so as mechanism follows you, you have to be able to structure. Now we'll look at a couple of examples. We'll go away from basketball, go away from this particular part of the subject, and go and look at some other examples. And I'm gonna give you 2 of them, and they're right here in New York. Okay, we see Jay-Z and his partnerships that established both the Barclays Center and the Brooklyn Nets, moving from New Jersey. The second being the part ownership that he was able, the part ownership that Derek Jeter was able to establish with the Miami Marlins until he decided, enough was too much.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those did not have mechanisms. What both of those had were name brands. And the you said it correct, my brother. You said it correct when you said, you have to be able to establish that you can be able to be around long enough for 2B to show up. But actually that number is more closer to 5B.
Right, and that for numbers' sake. Right.
No, I hear you. But for 5B, that's the number really that most people want to break even on, because you have large investments, not quasi investments. You have large investors that are going down, and one of the big ones is that you got to be able to justify things that you don't have to be able to go to jail for. Okay, so when you look at a Magic Johnson, for instance, when he started grabbing hold of all of the movie theaters, okay, and he started trying to reestablish himself, using that niche and using movie theaters, that was his big thing, because he said, you know what, I don't have to be in the game anymore. All right, the game is over. I can pretty much chill, but I can still put my face on something that people don't have to see me for it to be an effective marketing grab. That was his thing. One thing about Black ownership is that you don't have to put your face on everything. But a lot of guys want to put their face on everything. And that part of the mechanism that they want to live on is living on branding. You don't have to brand every single thing. You can actually make more money, okay, when you stand down and be a silent partner and do your thing. And you can allow structure to work, as long as you sign in the right checks, as long as you are having the right meetings, and as long as you network the right people. You can get all of that accomplished without ever having to show your face for more than 2 commercials. All right, which is something Magic Johnson has proven quite often, and Michael Jordan has done quite often. Now, the difference is that in this particular venture, and I've had a chance to read up on it
earlier.
Right. But now looking into this venture, the one you're talking about now regarding Shaq and 50 and everybody else, This is about putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. Okay? BET has been a bullet wound for 45 years, and no one wants to say it out loud. It's been a bullet wound that will not, I mean, you can put all kinds of things on it. It's just not going to be what it's supposed to be. You know, you have to pick the right thing too. The key to all these things, all these different ventures that all these other different people have gotten into is you got to pick something that doesn't have to make a comeback to be better.
Well, necessarily wouldn't have made a comeback though if you think about it.
True.
If you got to remember.
True.
Remember Shaq is also an actor as well
Absolutely.
as 50 and as well as Ty. Like
Absolutely.
I say, these guys are more than just an act. They're an orchestrator. So you got 3 orchestrators coming together. 2 of them are dynamic show producers.
Mm-hmm.
I will give you the
if Power is all on BET,
right?
Power has built the fandom,
yes,
that stretches across board. Now remember, black people ain't the only people to watch BET.
Of course.
So, Power being on BET and whatever shows that Tyler has,
yes,
it brings about too many dynamic relationships. One, Dr. Dre, you black billionaire, and your little puppets that string up under you, all up in the top 100 millions of tax brackets. No, we don't really like the fact that 50 is too close to Dre, who is now taking Death Row over to a whole nother dimension, who has been in several shows for 50 at any time he called him.
This is right.
We don't need any more of those type of collaborations to take place where, ID, we understand that you do some things in the decentralized world. We need you to hook up today and dance. We understand that you make a mean mac and cheese. We understand you got to on that thing. It's a little bit more than paprika over there. We don't need you, and we don't need you to get in those positions with those people because we have quantified a limit. We won't tell you what the limit is. We're just going to put it out there like, no, it's open for everybody. But clearly, there's a limit.
And you see what you're saying right now? That is the home run. That is the home run. That is the home run. And that's the home run call that no one else wants to make, but everybody else should be doing it out loud with feeling. Okay? Because the big problem is this. Now, I'm going to date you back a little bit. Back in the day, you might recall that Bill Cosby, much as we may not like him, Bill Cosby had himself a nice, happy opportunity to grab GE, which was the parent company of NBC Universal.
Right.
And believe you me, he had the money to make it happen. It was not even a thing to have to worry about. He could have grabbed it and been like, all mine, gotta go. This is my purse, gotta go. Okay? The big key was that he didn't have to network. He created his own network. He created his own networking. But he didn't have to have ties to anybody.
Nope.
But he did. He
absolutely did.
But he didn't need it.
No.
And there are some people who don't need to take the entourage with them going to practice, like we like to say, okay? Mm-hmm. They don't all need to be. I mean, sometimes Iverson needed to go to practice by his damn self and not take the whole damn entourage with him. This is the same thing, okay? This is exactly the same thing. And particularly the scoundrels that he's particularly taking with them when it comes to one Dr. Dre, okay? And the ideology that he's taking with them as well. Thanks, but no thanks. Step aside. Let your man do his thing. Let these people do their thing. They've got it. They don't need you.
Quiet as kept.
Well, y'all gotta inform me a little bit more about that. But before you do, because that sounds interesting development there.
Right.
On the Magic Johnson part, there was another part in addition to him having those theaters,
Right.
think went overlooked, and that was his stake in what is now a defunct bank in Washington Mutual.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very interesting when I was younger, because it was like movie theaters and a bank, but it was really more about owning real estate. And I think the play, at least this is the way it was marketed, branded, was because these are going to be the banks considering whether they're going to have lending options, or certain things that we're going to key in for our neighborhoods and communities, getting people back.
We are talking about the thing that created the tech issue, that created the economic issue, that folded into 2006, 2007, and then when we saw the bubble burst in 2008. This was a large key to it, because we had a lot of people who were getting access to loans and shouldn't have been getting access to loans. But the problem is that, unfortunately, Magic Johnson's face was used, okay, to create a smokescreen for this sort of thing to take place. And fortunately for him, okay, he saw it for what it was and got out when it was time to get out. But his getting out was a large investment to take out. So a lot of these underwriters suffered, okay, because now they didn't have anything to put up under them to be able to afford giving these loans out. So now that became exposure, creates exposure, and now everything fell down, or the entire domino set fell down. And this is why we had the issues we had. But now, the big key is to remember that Magic Johnson clearly saw the writing on the wall. Okay? And didn't let himself stay where he was doing something wrong to people, and willingly doing so.
And this is the thing that I know at the time there was a certain transition. So 2011.
Sure.
Well, that was an election year coming into
Obama. That's Obama.
Right. And this is around the time we mentioned the Barclays Center. You mentioned Jay-Z and that deal. That was
Trust me, that deal affected me personally. I lived in that area, so I know.
Yeah. And then that deal you got going on. Then you also got, I mentioned Steve Stout earlier. Him and Steve Stout went into business in Open Translation LLC. That's to get advertising situations that go back to Dre talking about the Super Bowl and how that whole cohort comes together, right?
Steve Stout, my friend, is a flat out criminal.
Listen,
flat out criminal.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Before we go any further,
we
cannot.
I will use this platform today, but I understand where you're I put it this way: I understand where you're coming from with those. We can speak.
And I'm going to say this to the American public: these motherfuckers ain't do nothing no different than the rest of them.
No,
right?
No, they didn't.
Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, they didn't do nothing no different that the rest of them didn't do.
No, they did not.
No. Listen, I look at it, it's all the same. Same water boil over is what we say, right? So, like, when the point I mentioned all that because we mentioned different figures, but how we're connecting them together, right? Sure. I'm trying to show that there's a through line that works on the sequence of mechanisms, these 2, these 5s, these 10s, right? And they work on these bond schedules, these bond curves. These is how they, when they're taking out certain money, it's on a project that's over here, that's with the political party that's doing this, that's already knowing that this, and it's all that kind of stuff. So when you start talking about the movie theaters and the banks, you know what I mean? It's also about real estate, right?
Right. That's the key element.
Yeah,
hello, McDonald's.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's all real estate, So when all these real estate plays, real estate jobs, you know what I'm saying? Jobs have to pay for the real estate, So it's like at the end of the day, when we looking at all these people like we creating jobs, it's because they're in these wealth groups that probably got REITs, out here in all these different situations.
And ID, let's remind people who are not in the Web3 industry, how far real estate has expanded besides just the tangible things that you can walk around.
And that's how you know it's crazy, because we ain't even talking about that. You know what I'm saying?
Fellas,
Right.
I'm gonna interject real quick and just say this: when it comes to real estate, don't be so quick to give them praise. Don't give them flowers just yet.
No, not just the
Because
flowers.
one thing about real estate, okay, is that there's a twofold story with that. So I'm gonna keep it real short. When it comes to real estate, you got to know the difference between the developer and the builder, okay? Because the developer is the one that's getting paid today. And the developer shouldn't be getting paid not nearly as much as the builder is, okay? And that's a big deal. Well, I won't get into that now, but we'll talk about that after.
Yeah, but
my whole thing is, it's even though you're right on that particular subject, but let's think about who's the one that's winning, because the developer and the builder, they have limited time on your land after it's constructed.
Yes,
so
they should.
Rather it's 3 years or 30 years. When the project is done, shoo, scurry on. The land is me and my family's.
Now,
it should be that way. You ever seen? You ever seen New York developers?
Right, but
I'm not joking. Have you ever seen New York developers? Man, listen.
You're getting into a space where like things are, and I know where we are on time, but just like you said, keep it really quick.
Yeah.
We get to a space where information was gatekept, you know, to people in certain families, right? So when you're speaking about New York, right? These intersections of race only happened through the criminal element mostly before they were legitimized, you know?
Bingo.
So at the end of the day, it was through prohibition, it's through, you know, illegal drug sales and this, you know, it's through all of these kind of things that these infrastructures that are even represented and like even, I guess, supported, you know, to play in those spaces, right? They have to have some level of illegitimacy to them in some way, because it's always, I got to keep a thumb over you. You know what I'm saying? Because everything that comes up righteous and straight arrow, whatever the case is like that, of course they're going to block that because they created those systems. They can easily say that doesn't fit the mold, you know? So you got to be outside the mold in order to get in. But the thing is, to fast forward from that, about the real estate thing, right now in New York, right? It was working from home. They got all these migrants and stuff like that moving there. They're doing that because they got a black mayor, right? The end of the day is all these buildings and stuff like that. We worked and went, you know what I'm saying, bankrupt and all that kind of stuff. That whole business model of what we're going to try to tech entrepreneur people, you didn't give them the information. The people with the ingenuity, you didn't give them the information, so that they're behind the whole technology, you know what I'm saying, level. There's a whole gap between what they can even know to even be in position to, if I had this land, I know how to protect it, because they're changing the rules and now everything is antiquated from a level that they don't even understand yet. You know?
Hey, real quick. Gary J, man, thank you for rocking with us, man.
Appreciate
you so much, man. Enjoy the rest of your work day, and check back in with us later, man. Be safe, brother.
Absolutely. One thing is for sure, we got, you know, if anyone who knows anything about the lands on this earth, okay, and particularly in this country, I would say this: 75% of lands on this earth, in this state, in this country, okay, have such horrible historic handling. Okay, and our particular ancestry buried within its ground, and poor history buried within its ground. So it's our responsibility to not only call out these things. It's not only our responsibility to make these things have light, but also to nurture the movement. All right. So when we see others who may not look like us per se, but certainly carry our similar issues. We can't poo-poo on them. We can't shit on them. And people who are walking around shitting on them, which is a thing here in New York, which I started to get in some people's faces over. Okay, that can't fly, because 150 years ago, when this particular city was being built, or should I say being rebuilt, it was our responsibility to do part of that rebuilding. And then they looked at us and said, "Oh, well, we don't want your faces over here, so we're killing you, and we're burying you in the street. Too bad." So it doesn't stop with us. It didn't start with us, but it doesn't stop with us. But it needs to be just as much our responsibility as picking them up in our spiritual way. Okay.
However,
and taking us to doing what we got to do. Go ahead.
However, MLK is no longer with us.
No,
because it wasn't just the black dollar that he was going after. When he started taking a whole look at the thing and said, you know what? It's poor white people that can use this as well. Oh, wait a minute. Now you're crossing the line.
You must kick.
LBJ told the world, if you make the lowest white man feel better than the highest black man, well, hell, that son of a bitch will empty out his pockets for you. My brother in Chicago with the Rainbow Coalition.
Right.
No, you. It was all good when you talked about black infrastructure, black bases. We can work with you on that. But now you start to pull in stuff that was messing around with our money. No. You don't do that. But if you look at, like I said before, if you look at what BET is, which is black entertainment, and we all know black people aren't the only one consuming black entertainment at vast amounts, particularly in current time and current day.
Right.
You take the fact of a Tyler Perry, you mix that up with a Shaquille O'Neal, then you throw in the little regular guy that made it and big, and he's not just a regular guy anymore, but he just wants you to look at him like he's a regular guy more so than anything. But he has that relationship aspect that a lot of people don't have. When he say he could pick up the phone and call anybody, it's kind of scary because he's not being insincere.
Right.
He's not just blurting out, I can do it because I can. No, he's built relationships to a great amount that I would even say Jay-Z's path on relationship building was based on the money that he can bring in. Right? And I'm not undermining that he doesn't have great business acumen and nothing like that. But Jay-Z doesn't give me that I'm going to really build this relationship type with you. I have a relationship with you.
Bingo.
I'm not going to build this relationship with you. 50, on the other hand, shit, there's nothing for me to kick it with you. Oh, we know your time is precious. No. Let's listen. I know I said 15 minutes. Let's do 2 hours and see what we can really make happen.
Right.
Damn. Wait a minute. We got that guy mixed in with those other guys?
He's an open door.
No, we can't have that. Because now what happens is when you got a guy that's got Tommy is one of the most praised white characters next to John Wick. Think about that. Tommy is one of the most praised white characters next to John Wick.
Pretty damn big.
Who created that character? Who created it? 50. 50 created the character. And the white guy that played the role of Tommy praises 50 every chance he gets. So now the understanding is like, this guy builds relationships. No, we can't have that. We can't have that. You got a three-headed monster. We can't have that. The $2 billion, we know they'll clear it. We know they'll clear it.
Easily.
They'll clear it. Honestly, let's be honest. Reason why $2 billion was brought to the table because that was honestly the rate that they had that they wanted.
Yeah, they tried to up the price on them because they know they could get the 2 Bs too fast.
So but the issue was this. Who was all going to be tied to that situation?
Yeah, it was the two-step. It was
you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that ownership was an issue at a large proportion. Because now what you were going to do was you were going to reestablish Central Park. You were going to reestablish Rosewood. You were going to reestablish Tulsa. You were going to reestablish all the things that we buried without having to actually go build them hand by hand.
You're right.
I still see it happening, though. I still see it happening.
Well, it'll happen, but it won't happen the way we think it'll happen.
Right. I mean, and that's.
But let's be honest.
Let's be honest. But this not.
Let's be honest.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, though, because here's also I look at it like this. Everybody has now been trying to put themselves in position, right? Even if they're in silos, right? This person's making a move on LVMH. This one's making a move on the NFL. This one's making a move on ABC. You know what I'm saying? Or Disney. This one's making a move. You know what I mean? Ice Cube's making his move on. Everybody's leveling up in a way, making their move, right? These guys are old anyway. You know what I'm saying? Technology is being built by the kids and overseas. They can't keep up with all this stuff. All of this stuff is bluster for the people who still want to believe in the Matrix, right? Everybody who's stepping outside and waking themselves up, they ain't worried about what's going on no more. And this is what I also say. You got to worry about one thing right now. If you're worried about anything, this is still the United States of America. And as far as today is concerned, Trump is polling 30 points ahead of anybody in the GOP that's trying to even contend with him, and they ain't even.
Listen, I don't mean to cut y'all.
That's just on that.
When it comes to that particular thing, I don't care for either one of them.
It's about the money. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? It's about the money. So
if you think it's about the money, then you're wrong.
This is what I'm saying about the money. When you have each one of these. At the end of the day, for the past 4 years, any programs that have been effective, there's no platforms that have been effective. That's why you got all this dissension in the first place. So if you're looking at the fact that right now you have an indicted president, or former president, that's now everybody's saying my money is going behind that. You know what I'm saying? He's getting electorates right now who's positioning themselves saying, you know what? We already looking like this when it comes to China. We already know we're going to be in debt. You know what I'm saying? What lane are we trying to pick right now? It's those same people that is in conversations with the people overseas who are going to leverage if we actually take the ground that we need to take here. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, everything that we think, like, it's sewn up here so much to the point that we have to go digital with everything. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Everything's so sewn up. If you're not going digital to get the digital real estate, you know what I'm saying? Like, we see that people ain't got no place to live because people own it and they ain't letting nobody on the land. So at the end of the day, it's like, if we're not going digital to galvanize, right? In a way, that's like, we don't need those same linear mechanisms that was so traditional. We can still somehow communicate around all of those situations and still be able to mobilize. That's the thing that's what they're charging us for.
But then what the part of your argument that falls is the fact that you're not speaking in terms of money. You're speaking in terms of morals. And morals are creating the difference between whether or not we even have this discussion about an indicted ex-president and a current president. Because the truth is that whether D wants either, okay, or neither, or anyone else, and his argument is not the only. He's not making the only argument. There are many people who are making this argument. The thing is this: Biden doesn't miss this argument and doesn't not hear this argument. Trump doesn't know this argument because he's too stupid, okay, and too egotistical to know this argument. And he's too immoral to know this argument. The problem is the GOP is also too immoral to hear this argument.
Facts.
Okay? Independents in this country, and particularly young independents, guys younger than us, okay, know this argument. And that's why you've seen people, especially in the GOP, talking about we want to get rid of 18 to 25-year-olds, voting at all, because they know they don't know the argument. Because the argument is crystal clear and they can't make the argument because morals have left them. So what you're speaking of, my brother, is ID. You're speaking of a moral argument. And a moral argument is not a money argument. A moral argument is not a business argument. It is all of the above. And one more thing. The difference between being controlled and letting it be unregulated. And that argument, my brother, is one that's going to have to be had by people who are a little smarter than us.
Well, here's another thing. It's not that they're necessarily just that much more smarter than us. It's just also the fact that they're just more connected and come from a wealth pool of a situation. Literally born with the silver spoon in their mouths.
Correct.
However, if we're talking about people's hope that Trump can come and save because his relationship with Putin, well, I would tell you like this: you're falsely looking at this thing incorrectly, because the whole BRICS movement, he's got a whole new alliance of people who's got friends coming from every other direction. So being friends with America is out of the discussion. America has nothing to offer anybody.
I don't speak for any political party, and I appreciate your clarity on the morals versus money thing. Where I'm more trying to speak from is how each one of these, if we just talking the blue and the red, right? They all the same now. It's all coagulated. It's purple. So now where it used to be, oh, these programs are over here. You know what I'm saying? Fight against these programs over here. That moral argument has twisted both sides, and now there is no foundation for either side to
No.
But see, but the principle of it is, like you said, back just like I talked about it, an act is just an act.
Right.
An orchestra is everything. So what people that don't understand is the act of the blue and the red, they don't get to see the purple because they don't understand the orchestration is actually purple. Bingo. These people, if you go do your a dude literally did a thing the other day, and he said, can you guess which league is this? Which professional sports league is this? And he read out 14 convictions, people that actually broke the law, behind on taxes, this and the third. Can you guess what league it is? And all you heard NBA, NFL, NBA, NFL.
NFL, NHL. I was like laughing.
He said neither. This is United States Congress.
It's
so
the GOP of the United States Congress. Exactly what he said. And I have that one saved in my Google Photos. So absolutely.
Yeah. So that whole thing again, like I say, it's the orchestration. That orchestration understands this. When you let a particular group of people say, hey, we just want to be by ourselves, that's problematic, because what that does is that shows that we don't need certain hands from you. Example, everybody screaming, look to the east, look to the east. Well, damn it, look to the east, because Africa has been showing in real time when they went and had that whole meeting and said, listen, Africa is not begging. We ain't borrowing. We don't want anything outside of the fact of what we rightfully put into this situation. Give us what's ours, and we good.
Go
And
and
the
go
rest
about your
of the
business.
world,
Right.
the rest of the world went up in arms behind that, because you want to
Right.
know why? It removes you from the discussion that you're needing.
Bingo.
That's a fact.
Oh, and
That's black
one
ownership.
other thing came out of that. Okay. They took a moral stand on one of the key issues. And that key issue was Ukraine.
Yeah.
Nobody on the planet who has had anything to say about Ukraine, okay, has done so the way they did, because they basically told Putin to his face, get your ass up out of Ukraine and leave them be, because in truth, you are taking money out of our pocket to do that. You
So
started that
problem
war.
is that
What
is-
they told him straight up was, you started that war. They didn't
So
start
the
that
problem
war
with
with
that
you.
is, so the problem with that one, I was telling Al about that. Shout out to my bro Al Tariq, the real producer of T Max Network, man. The situation with him, like I told him, I read this book called Red Famine. I found out some real. I encourage anybody to read this book. It is an interesting read.
I've already read it, but yes.
So, with the Red Famine, it's the history of the Ukrainian country, of the people. Ukraine is rich in black soil and grain. So that was something that, in Africa, a lot of places are dry. But if you bring that really rich soil from there and you put it into the place where, hey, we have the mango seeds, we got the papaya, we got all that. We just need a little bit more moisture in our grounds, and you got the best moisture there is. Let's accompany that. Let's make this thing happen. And there was a trade-off that took place there. But you people don't know about the thing that took place with Ukraine is Ukraine people have been put into a position on several occasions that they couldn't speak their own language. They couldn't use their own dialect. It was insane. If they worked a job, they had to then position themselves as if they were Russian or a Slavic. Like, that was the thing. It's insane. So I encourage anybody to go read about the Red Famine and understand that this thing with Ukraine isn't just something new. Ukraine has always been up in arms for people to get their hands on it for some reason. And the reason is the grain, the land of the soil in the land itself is rich soil, rich grains. And that's why people keep going in and attacking those people the way they do.
Yep.
But that brings back my argument to anything when it comes down to it. You said it, real estate. Real estate.
Yeah, real estate has been the argument, and I know, just to bring it back, because I know we was talking about the black ownership and we got to Africa and stuff like that. Like, as far as like right now, and I see there's a few people making the argument. I seen Ben Crump last week on the Breakfast Club with two women who are trying to really argue against some of the different things that. I don't know if it's the GOP or what exactly, who is politically in power.
They're arguing against what Biden is doing. That's what it is.
And basically, long story less long, it's like, where's our funding money? You know what I mean? All this capital that's going this way, that's doing this and is doing that. We got the affirmative actions being cut off. There's a lot of different things and mechanisms that were set up to start putting in the pipeline for us, that we're starting to get the writings on the wall that those pipelines are being shut off before that water even gets to trickle down. And I think that the main thing that we seen happen over the pandemic, I think, was a lot of people got access to information because they were stuck on their phones.
Well, they were home.
And it gave them so much access to information.
It gave them time.
Gave them time to study, gave them time to catch up, to catch their breath and stuff like that. And really, this is what's happening. Oh, wait, I could do this. Hold on. I don't got no job and I can, So I think collectively that groundswell is taking place.
Oh, baby. Big Bro says we have to individually create our own funding for anything we need in particular.
Right.
Man, let that sit there for the people for a while.
God bless
Breathe
God.
that
God
in.
bless you, brother, for saying it. God bless you, brother, for saying it.
Breathe
Mhm.
that in.
That I'm gonna read it one more time. We have to individually create our own funding for anything we need in
In
particular.
particular, that's correct.
In particular.
And this is such a key moment, because as a founder, right, being in the Web3 space and things like that, just in that space alone, you still deal with the fact that most of it is dominated by VCs. It's dominated by a lot of outside and foreign influence of people who have established mechanisms, structure, things that are outside of what we also said, the moral ethos of what Web3 was initially supposed to be, as far as democratizing information and access to different things.
Oh man, hold on. We gotta
Uh-huh.
read this. And I want to
Uh-huh.
say thank you, sister, for coming and being a part of this. It says Salam Aklum, Akadas Arab, run Detroit businesses. Woo!
Can I ask y'all a question? This is just me straight up asking.
Even Sudanis and Myrons run black media.
Uh-huh.
Fresh and fit.
Fresh and fit.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask y'all a question?
Mm.
I'm just curious if y'all know. Do y'all know how the GOP runs for anything?
Locally first.
No.
For me.
The GOP, as far as like, how do they run for anything?
How do they run for anything? What's the basis of what they run on?
Lord knows.
They don't run on anything. They don't run on principle. They don't run on facts.
Oh, but they run on something.
They run on what makes you feel good, and they've captured so many people on what makes them feel good.
I know Lord used to be.
Let me answer the question for you. They run on two things, and two things only: pointing out who's to blame for it, and making you afraid of it.
Feelings.
Or you could actually put that in vice versa. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Making you afraid of it, pointing out who's to blame for it.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been a mantra of theirs for the entirety of their existence. And I will tell you something that you may not, in the back of your mind, but you're not bringing it forward, or what have you. One thing about them is that they concentrate on who they can trump. The word Trump is not an empty vessel. It has never been an empty vessel. And for 200 years, they have existed knowing the word Trump. The word Trump means to do what? To shake up and inspire a fear.
Mm-hmm.
And when you decide that you want to be behind someone who shakes up a fear within you, it is because they have grabbed hold of something that they can control, continually utilize, and never let go until they have gotten everything out of you.
Hold on. This sister's dropping some.
Go for it.
Arabs run alcohol stores and businesses they would never be able to do in the Middle East among their own Arab reef. They consider themselves clean and holy, unlike the FBA male group. We have Habishna only opens vegan stores up in the hood because we want to learn how to eat clean. My brother Al says all parties run on emotional sides of their voters. People been voting with hope every election and complaining at the start of the first term and the incoming president. Yes,
this is true.
She says your love for Asian food.
But you know what's
that's something that I've always said. When you listen to these politicians speak, listen to them.
Yeah.
But come with your demands. Yep. And one thing I always make a demand on is, just like anything, you got to remember these people are politicking and partitioning for a job. So when you come to a job, whatever your unique job set or skill set is, they're going to say, I need to see your resume.
Right.
We as the people, or even individually, haven't taken to either one of these political parties or people and said, listen, oh, you're a Democrat. That's beautiful. Oh, you're a Republican. Oh, that's cute. You're independent. Oh, that's kind of nice. What you done? What you did this week? What have you done this week?
And what do you stand behind?
I read you promised new jobs in the area. What jobs have you got coming this week?
And what do you stand behind?
Well, no, I didn't ask you well, because what you're going to do is you're going to feed me the BS from the mechanism of the processes. We understand there's a process to life. But the question is, what have you done that's already in order?
Do you see what you just said? Did you hear what you just said? Did you pick up on what he just said?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The two words he said in there, right in the middle, he said the mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
See how it all comes back to? The mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because it's not lost.
So, real quick.
It's not lost. Mm-mm.
So, niggas, anybody that wants to, real quick, y'all mean to take away from it, but
like the show.
Email us at tmaxnetworkllc@gmail.com. I don't know why it disappeared so quickly, but email us. And normally when you come into the YouTube, once you subscribe, there's a link right up at the top of the chat. You can hit that link and I'll bring you to the back end. Only thing that I ask is you have your camera on so I can allow you up, and that way we can stay within the orders of being a clean channel on YouTube with no issues. So that'll be the thing for that. But get back to the comments, man.
Yeah, listen, these comments are amazing. Shout out to Etria. Nipsey Hussle he comes from, that's one of my guys I look up to. Music.
Say bless.
Bro said something there. Said something there. It says, thanks, dude, for calling me a sister. I consider us a habitual high risk as non-blacks. Because we are looking for feminine Afro-Caucasian features.
But she dropping some knowledge I wasn't ready for on this Monday.
I see. But my bro said something again. We can't make no demands until we can't, because we can't come together as one. But I say this, though, to my bro's point. I've always said, a lot of times the problem is we're not looking to come together as one. We're looking to come together as 50 million. We're looking to come together as 200 million. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't understand, where did we lose sight of Tulsa, Oklahoma? Tulsa was in the middle of nowhere, America. And people were coming from all over the globe, bypassing Ellis Island, bypassing the Golden Gate Bridge, bypassing Mount Rushmore, to come do business with people in the middle of nowhere, America.
My brother, do you know of the city of Allentown?
Yeah, I live there.
I ain't say nothing about Allentown, Pennsylvania, my brother.
Oh.
I'm talking about a little town that nobody knows about called Allentown, California. Allentown, California was one of the earliest cities. Hold on. No problem.
Just give us a second.
No problem. Take your time.
This is why I had this on standby, because I knew
your time, my brother. Take your time. I am not going nowhere.
I knew something was gonna come up. We gonna get into this, my brother. We gonna confirm all kinds of things today. Oh, now it's known as Allensworth. That's why it's
yes. But what was Allentown, California? I'm gonna let you read it out because I'm not gonna say nothing.
Well, let's see. Okay. So it was established in 1908.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. What was it named after?
Well, it hadn't got to that point. Let me
Oh, okay.
see something.
Okay, just let you know,
Okay.
fellas, I know we got somebody else who's talking about something on the bottom. I think she said something else, and I only got a couple more minutes before we step
Yeah.
out. But definitely want to hear how this climax comes together
Mm-hmm.
with Allentown and Allen Worth, California.
Mm-hmm.
Get up out of here.
Because
Yeah.
honestly, the thing is, Allentown, California was Tulsa, Oklahoma before Tulsa, Oklahoma was Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay, so Allensworth,
Yes.
the first town in California to be established exclusively by African Americans, was founded in 1908
Mm-hmm.
by a group of men led by Colonel Allensworth. Was born a slave in Louisville, Kentucky in 1842.
Mm-hmm.
Allensworth became the highest ranking black officer in the United States Army when he retired in 1906.
Right.
As a boy, Allensworth was punished for learning to read, write, which was unlawful for enslaved people in Kentucky across the South. During the Civil War, he escaped and sought refuge behind the Union line, where he worked as a civilian nurse in the Army Hospital Corps.
Mm-hmm.
From 1863 to 1865, Allensworth served in the United States Navy, afterwards becoming an ordained Baptist minister in 1871.
Right.
Allensworth met Josephine Lavelle, who was a school teacher, an organist, and pianist. They were married in September 20, 1877. Josephine Allensworth worked diligently with her husband to promote his educational and religious work. The couple had two daughters, Nellie and Eva. In 1882, Allensworth discovered that of the four Black Army regiment, the Buffalo Soldiers, they were no Black chaplains. He immediately sought the appointment. And April 1st, in 1886, President Grover Cleveland appointed Reverend Allensworth as a chaplain of the 24th Infantry and rank of captain, with the responsibility of spiritual health and educational well-being of Black soldiers in the regiment. At the time of appointment, he was only the second African American, after Henry Plummer, named to serve as a U.S. Army chaplain. Allensworth retired as a lieutenant colonel on April 7th, 1906. He achieved the highest rank of an African American in the United States Army Armed Forces. After retirement, he traveled widely throughout the United States, lecturing. He needed a self-help program which would enable African Americans to become more self-sufficient in 1904. The Allensworth family decided to settle in Los Angeles. One of Allensworth's goals was to identify the town site, the state of California, where African Americans might start new lives together outside of the restrictions of the Jim Crow laws. We're gonna have to dig. We're gonna have to dive into this a little bit more. Another day.
Yep.
My sister says y'all still mention Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey like Tariq, Nasheed, Umar Johnson. They have the revolution of the black male of the 20th century to show off, nor do they plan to get militant heroes.
Right.
They do not plan to rebuild Black Wall Street in Tyson. They mention males who've been in the graves for over 100 years. Pathetic. Disgraceful male group. Hey.
You know what that tells you?
Closing time, and we're gonna have to come back to this. This is another we're gonna have to come back to.
Mm-hmm.
So, later this week, maybe this evening, we'll see what takes place. However, the discussion must go on. It's a lot that we're gonna deep dive into when it comes to this black ownership. Big shouts out to Tyler Perry, Shaquille O'Neal, and 50 Cent. Majesty of a combination that I never even thought would have even had a
Attempt.
yeah.
An
Never even
attempt.
thought they would have sat down together.
Mm-hmm.
Which is understood.
Interesting statement.
I mean, but it's true.
No, she's not wrong. Not wrong.
I mean,
No,
not
wrong.
That was how, you know, a lot of people actually carried out in those days.
Those days. Mm-hmm.
So, man, come back, sister. You and I hope you connected with the network, gave us a follow, subscribe, please. We would like to exchange some more information with you and keep things going. But we got to talk about Black ownership and its controversial positioning that it holds.
Mm-hmm.
So, that being said, it's closing time.
The officials are ready. The fighters are in the ring, and they are ready. So, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first and world championship titles in a record 8 different weight division, guarantees his place in the Hall of Fame. He's recognized and known the world over as the people's champion.
My name is D-Nice. My name is D-Nice. My name is D-Nice. Taking out your suckers and yeah, and you don't stop.
It's me. But once I overcame that fight, can't nothing stop me. I can't die. I'm immortal.
Rejected, neglected, I feel disrespected. They told me go left, I didn't learn the right lessons. Been hard on my grizzle, my hustle got deadly. Y'all rap about shit I done murdered already. Ain't changing my image, focused on my vision. Hard-headed, don't listen, fake love, I ain't with it. This path I'm committed, slip up but ain't tripping. My mind always spinning, ain't talking about vision. Just run me, my digits go broke, I ain't limping. It ain't come to me, so I had to go get it. I came from a city with niggas, it's vicious. The love be fictitious, see hate from a distance. It made me a fighter, got pushed to my limits. I took a few L's and then got so discouraged. With God as my witness, from whence I was forged. No golden gate bridge, but I came back a warrior. I came back immortal, invincible even. My faith is much higher than what you believe in. They wanted me gone on my soul, I ain't leaving. Spoke life into every verse you receiving. My music lives on when my bones turn to dust. There's power in words, so bitch you should hush. My mind overflowing in lyrical floods. Fuck building an art, you gon' need you a sub. I rose through the pavement, I stand on my morals. Been stabbed in the heart, now my scars are enormous. I took all your stones and created a fortress. Been fighting off demons that constantly torment my mind, and my thoughts are a little abnormal. Been crossing out squares that won't fit in my circle. Can't kill what I said, and this verse is eternal. With God on my side, I can't die, I'm immortal. Creation, destruction, the cosmos erupting. My mind kicked off track of the train I'm conducting. Came out of the dungeon, stepped into corruption. Don't know who to trust, how the fuck I'ma function. This deity trapped in this skin that I live in. They wanted a king since I fit the description. They tried to dethrone me, but I'm in position. I'll show you the wrath of a god from Olympus. You spoke on my name, bro, I thought we was different. Couldn't tie your own shoes, guess that's why you still tripping. That bitch wasn't loyal, guess karma's your mistress. It's hoes over bros, guess you made your decision. That rat in my family ain't talking about splinter. I hope that you feel every verse I deliver, cause hell done froze over, you think it was winter. If you thought for a second I wasn't gonna come get you, I think the Almighty made me in his image, dominion and power protected. My children call angels beside me, now I'm in command. Enlightenment all in the palm of my hand. This ain't what you pictured, I wasn't supposed to make it. I'm supposed to be 6 feet up under a pavement. They hate how you live, but show love when you die. Hope you feel the same way when I come back to life. I rose through the pavement, I stand on my morals. Been stabbed in the heart, now my scars are enormous. I took all your stones and created a fortress. Been fighting off demons that constantly torment my mind, and my thoughts are a little abnormal. Been crossing out squares that won't fit in my circle. Can't kill what I said, and this verse is eternal. With God on my side, I can't die, I'm immortal.